Do you struggle to find your voice in a noisy world? Do you feel your voice lacks confidence and energy to accurately communicate your thoughts, ideas, and passions? Do you wish there was an easy way to give your voice what it needs to captivate your audience every time? My name is Clay Collins, and like you, I struggled with these issues for years. But I found a blueprint that can help you change the way you think about your voice and therefore the way your voice comes across to others. Welcome to the My Voice Mentor podcast. Do you know why you've been given a voice? Do you know the purpose of your voice? Obviously, you're here because you're interested in improving your voice and getting better, whether you're a public speaker or a singer. But why do you want to get better? Maybe you have a dream in mind. Maybe you have something that you'd like to do. Maybe there's something that you've always wanted to do and you're just not sure how to take the steps. But deep down, there's a reason why you want to take the steps to improve your voice. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. But before we get into all of that, I want to tell you about a 5-day vocal boot camp that I prepared for you that I want to just give you for free, from me to you. All you got to do is go to myvoicementor.com/bootcamp, fill in your email address, and right away you'll start getting daily emails for 5 days, getting your voice right on track to start improving, action items that you can do every day to start improving your voice. And I want you to have that because everybody deserves to invest in their voice. We all have one. So why not invest in it? You may not think of yourself as a singer, but you know what? Maybe deep down in there, you might feel like, hey, singing is something I'd actually like to do. Believe it or not, it actually improves and helps your speaking voice. So if you use your voice at all, I think this is really going to help you. So definitely take advantage of that. You can either click on the link in the description below if you're watching this on YouTube, or just again, follow myvoicementor.com/bootcamp. So let's dive into today's topic. I really believe firmly that we have a reason. There's a purpose. There's a purpose for us being here. Some people may not buy into the idea that there's a reason and a purpose for us to being here, but I am not one of those people. I believe there's a reason. There's a reason why you have the passions that you do and why, for some reason, you just feel the need to spend time in various areas. I think that God has given each of us a role to play in this life, and it's important for us to figure that out and fill it. And sometimes that purpose can be confused or in conflict with our passions or what we think our purpose is or what we have maybe longed to do from maybe an early age. And so if you're a younger person and you have all these dreams and passions, that's so good. You want to invest in those and you want to have passion for what you see. But, you know, sometimes things don't work out exactly the way we imagined it early on in life. And so regardless of where you are in your journey, whether you're just starting out or whether you've been at it for a few years, that's kind of what today's topic is all about. You know, when I was 18 years old or 17 years old, I was absolutely sure in my mind what I was going to do with my life. I was convinced that I wanted to be a professional singer. I wanted to be a Grammy award-winning vocalist. And so I had my sights set on that goal, not necessarily like a Madonna or a Michael Jackson, but, you know, maybe like a Michael W. Smith or an Amy Grant type of person. I was just really sure, absolutely positive that was my goal in life. And so I started aiming all of my efforts towards that. I started investing in my voice, improving it. I got into production and recording. I was always passionate about those things. And I was convinced that it was going to look a particular way. So I started really going down that path. I started submitting my music to local radio stations. I actually was able to chart on a local radio station. For 30 days, my song was being played every single day. It was really exciting. And I actually got the regional attention of some of the Billboard charting agencies because my little song there in West Texas was making a kind of a regional splash. It was really exciting. And I really felt like, man, I'm on this path. And one day I actually got a call from a record executive from Benson Music. They're no longer a music company now, but at that time they were a pretty big deal, and called me from Nashville and said, you've got what it takes. We want to have a meeting with you right away. Can you get to Nashville? Because I want to have a meeting with you. I said, absolutely, man. And at that point, everything that I had been doing up to that point, I'm like, I cleared the desk. My grades suffered. I was going through college at the time. My grades suffered. Everything was just, I mean, I was like, why even worry about school and getting a degree if I'm about to just get my big break. And so I thought the best thing for me to do is just let everything else go, put all your focus into this, finish the album, go see this executive. I thought I was well on my way. He told me enough in that call that made me think, yes, I've got what it takes. So me and a friend went to Nashville. I got on a plane, and I thought everything was aiming towards like that God was setting all this up for me. In fact, I actually ran into that very record executive on the plane that I was going to be meeting with in Nashville. Somehow there was a connecting flight, and we joined up halfway through. I thought in my mind, this is obviously God orchestrating something. There was 3 or 4 other artists on that plane that this executive introduced me to all of them and said, hey, you need to check this guy's stuff out. He's really, really great. We're going to be talking to him. And I was on cloud 9. I was like, this is it. It's happening. This is real. This is great. Well, I stayed in the hotel. I just couldn't wait for the meeting. I was just so excited. That was the reason why I was there. And so on the day of this meeting, the meeting was at whatever time it was. It was in the evening. And me and my buddy, Terry, were sitting in the foyer of this recording studio. And my mind was just going crazy with just what my future was going to look like and how this is just the beginning. And I was just really getting involved in my own story, a little bit self-absorbed, if we're going to be honest. And I was just really thinking, this is it. This is going to happen. And I was listening to the songs being produced in the other room. And I was like, man, pretty soon that's going to be me with a producer. And I was going on. And I didn't even notice that 30 minutes had gone by since my scheduled meeting. It had been 30 minutes. I was like, well, maybe he's running late. And 45 minutes went by, and an hour. After about an hour, I was like, oh, this is strange. And me and my buddy sat there for 2 hours, and the guy never showed up to the meeting. And I was confused, but I was still in somewhat of a denial state. I thought, well, maybe the wires got crossed, maybe whatever. I went back to the hotel. I was very discouraged and just couldn't. I was scratching my head. I mean, here I had, my buddy had purchased tickets for me to fly there. He bought a hotel night, and he was investing in me, and he was there with me. And here the guy didn't even show up to the meeting. I mean, it was devastating. I ended up leaving Nashville never having seen the executive that I was so sure was going to be my big break. And I'll be perfectly honest, it crushed me. It crushed me. I mean, I managed to finally get a call back to that producer of, hey, what happened? And he just never returned my calls. Never gave me an explanation or a reason why he never made the meeting. I did get secondhand information that they had thought, because of the style of my music, that I was a different nationality. And because I was not that nationality, everything that they had kind of forethought I would be able to fit into didn't fit. But instead of telling me and being upfront, they were in a pickle. They just decided not to show up to the meeting. Terrible. That semester, my school suffered so much. I almost had to take another year of college just to get caught up. It was bad. I was devastated. And it did send me into somewhat of a tailspin, to be perfectly honest, because this thing that I had thought I was so sure of didn't work out. And it actually made it very, very hard for me to apply myself in music. And so I began to really take steps back in music and say, well, maybe this isn't for me. Meanwhile, while all this was going on, there was an open door at a local church that I had been working on the worship team, and first part-time, and then I became a full-time worship leader for this church. Never had worship leading on my sights at all. Didn't even know what a worship leader was, let alone have any sort of passions in that area. But it was an open door, and it was an open door that was able to give me gainful employment, but it was also put me in a great community, great church family. And the pastor there really brought me up under his wing and really cared for me in those crucial years. And in the process, I really developed a passion for leading worship. So I really love this. I love being able to sing for the Lord and have the music impact people's lives. And it became a passion. In fact, I was like, well, maybe this is what I'm supposed to do. And still to this day, I'm actually leading worship on a regular basis. In fact, since that time, I've been actively leading worship, not necessarily vocationally, but I've been leading worship almost for 30 years. That was almost 30 years ago, if you can believe that. And I tell you this story to say, don't be discouraged if the dreams of your youth take a detour, because usually the open door before you, which is maybe not the thing that you had planned on or that you had thought of originally, that open door is what's going to lead you to the opportunities that God has for you. You know, there's a verse that says that God will give you the desires of your heart. And we tend to think of whatever my heart can conceive or imagine, that's what God's going to fulfill in our lives. But what that really means is that if we submit ourselves and we humble ourselves before the Lord, He will actually give us the desire of our heart. Meaning, desire, as they tell us, is the number one motivating factor in our life. Without desire, we wouldn't even want to get up in the morning. It wouldn't even be worth it for us to get up. But with desire, that's the thing that springs us out of bed, gets clothes on our back, gets food on our table. Desire is the very thing that drives us to keep pushing forward, even when the greatest obstacle is set before us. But desire can be impacted when our passions aren't fulfilled. And sometimes I see people come into my studio and they have these very big and lofty goals. And on the one hand, I don't want to discourage them. I say, yeah, go for it. If you want to be a tracking, recording artist, do it. Give yourself that shot. But if you're going to go for something that's a 1 in 10,000 shot or a 1 in 20,000 shot, not that you won't have a backup plan, but you want to prepare yourself that things might turn out differently. Everybody wants to be famous. Everybody wants to be a star. But really, the thing that you need to remember is that there might be something different than what you originally desire. And while you're pursuing that first passion, keep your mind and your heart open. I heard a pastor of mine once say that it's good to have dreams, but hold on to them loosely. Because sometimes if you hold on to something too tightly, it can just slip right through your fingers. But if you hold on to it loosely, and in this case, I'm basically saying, submit your passions and submit your dreams to the Lord. Let Him guide those passions and let Him guide what it is that you want to do with your life. Maybe you're listening to this and you don't necessarily believe in God or believe in the God of the Bible as I do, but the principle is still the same. Hold on to your dreams loosely, because sometimes that open door is actually leading you exactly where you're supposed to go. I can honestly say, after 30 years, looking back at what I thought I was going to be doing with my life ended up totally different in retrospect. Now, what I know in my life, I'm so thankful that there was something guiding me away from what I wanted into what I really, really needed, and now what I dearly love. I didn't fall in love with worship leading at first. To me, if I'm being perfectly honest, it was a stepping stone to what I really wanted to do. But even though that was the case, God really put a burden and a love in my heart for it, to where I really wouldn't want to be doing anything else. And while I do a lot of things, now I consider myself a mentor more than anything, or a guide more than anything. I still love the things that God has allowed me to do, and to continue to lead worship for small congregations, medium-sized congregations, and sometimes even massive congregations. But now, to be honest with you, none of that even matters. Certainly not like what it mattered when I was a child. Now, I just love doing it for the art of doing it. And really, in my case, pleasing God, doing what He put me on this earth to do, to help people like you and to get to lead people in His presence. What better thing can anybody do? So I tell you this story to hopefully encourage you that there's a reason why you're here. And you might have wanted to get that 1 in a million spot. But it may not even be that. It may be something smaller. Maybe you wanted to serve at your church. Maybe the worship team has a lot of people in line to join the worship team, and you didn't get chosen for that. What I want to encourage you is there's an open door for you. There's always an open door. That open door might be your local old folks home. People that really would love to hear your voice. I mean, what's a better assignment to go and minister to the elderly who are often forgotten, to encourage them and lift up their spirits in the last years they have on earth? What's better, that or pleasing your own self by getting the glory of man from a big stage? What do you think is more pleasing to God? To take care of those who others might not consider, or to take care of yourself? I just want to encourage you that there's an open door for your voice. And I encourage you to pursue it. Maybe you're a speaker. Maybe God has called you to encourage other people with your voice. Whatever the case may be, there is an open door for you. So if improving or investing in your voice is something that you're interested in, again, I encourage you to go to myvoicementor.com/bootcamp. Take my free 5-day bootcamp. Take my class, learn 5 daily principles that are going to jumpstart your voice right now. And you'll know, hey, do I want to take the next step? If you do want to take the next step, I offer an amazing membership that will connect you with some quality coaching, quality courses, and a community of people just like you working to improve their voice. Trust me, your voice is worth investing in. So don't delay. Go to myvoicementor.com/bootcamp and sign up for my 5-day course. And in the meantime, I can't wait to see you next week. I hope this was encouraging to you. But again, I want to leave you with this idea. Go towards the open door and don't be discouraged if it's different than what you originally imagined. All right, we'll see you next time.